So property taxes would be considered an ongoing cost. So just so you know, that's the one major way the government collects their money to do work around the city. Okay? It's from property taxes. Usually, property taxes are composed of two main subdivisions. There's the education portion, and there's the municipal taxes. Okay? So you can probably guess what education goes towards, right? So your bill is split into two. This goes towards schools, teachers running the school systems, the school buses, everything that comes with it. Municipal taxes go towards, streets, rebuilding streets, sidewalks, maintaining, grass cutting, snow removal, pot patching, right? The potholes, all of that, garbage removal, waste removal, yeah, all of that is part of that. Okay, and then some parks, like when they they redid this one here, this park, that is all coming from property taxes, right? They're calculated based on 45% of the entire property value. That's the building and the lot. So the value that remains is referred to the portioned assessed value. Sorry, I didn't give you enough space there, but the portioned assessed value or portioned assessment. I'm going to go slash portioned assessment. So you have to think of it this way. If this is the entire value of your property, which is 100%, the government takes less than half of it, right? It only taxes you on this, on 45% of the entire value of your home. Okay, so it's not on 100%, it's only on 45% of the value. So if you ever need to calculate the portioned assessment, you take the value of your home and you're going to multiply it by, what's 45% as a decimal? 0.45. That is worth boxing in. The value of the home times 0.45. That's what it is. What makes up your property taxes? I already mentioned it. But I think I want to make sure you understand that there's education, and sometimes there's education 1 and education 2. I don't know why. I need to probably look into it, but I don't know why they split it up sometimes. But there's 2 education at times. Most of the time there's just 1 education line in your property tax bill. So that's 1. And then I'm going to portion this off into municipal and local improvements. Is kind of like another category like this. Okay. So the municipal taxes will often have local improvement taxes underneath it as well, included. So the municipal taxes will have just your general municipal tax and then local improvement. Right? So this part is going to be included in your municipal taxes. Okay? What are local improvements? Grab your pink chart. This is actually from the Winnipeg website, the City of Winnipeg website. Go to the back of it. It looks like this. There's a whole bunch of improvements. I will say this is outdated. This is probably 2022. Every year they change these numbers. It says local improvement costs for property tax credits. So here, I don't know if you recognize some of these. You probably recognize concrete sidewalks. If they have to redo the sidewalks, you would be paying $786 per, watch this, per frontage. What is frontage? Front? The front of your property. So it depends on how wide your property is. And it is somewhere recorded. I will show you this. You can spy on your neighbors and be like, I wonder what their house is worth. On Monday, not today. But it's based on, so what's the most expensive repair if you scan these numbers? Street paving. Concrete street paving. I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar with Mountain Avenue, right? They redid a big chunk of it. It's beautiful now. But that was all concrete, right? That is very expensive. Everybody living in that area is paying for that. Everybody that owns a property in that area is paying. They have like an additional line, concrete street paving, extra cost, right? So it's not free. It's not like, yay, right? Like somebody's paying for it. So just so you know, it's coming straight from here. And you can get, if you want to, if you're bored, this URL takes you to the Winnipeg City website, City of Winnipeg website, and these numbers are updated to whatever it is this year. They change it all the time. Okay? Next, you need to highlight this part. I just alluded to this. Local improvements, this is how you would find how much you pay. You take the frontage of the house, of the property, and you just multiply it by the cost of the improvement. This is from the table. Okay, can I just say this? I'm going to make an arrow to frontage and just say the width of property. Write this down because you might forget what that is. So if you have a very, very narrow lot, you pay less than someone that has a really wide lot. I don't know, yeah, I guess that's just based on the width of your property. Okay, moving on. This QR code we will use on Monday, okay? If you want to already play around with it, you can do it. Page 61. I wish this would be a colored page. This is an actual property tax bill, page 61. If you own a condominium or a house, you're going to get this every year. Okay? You're going to get it's like bluish and red. Like they kind of split up. Look up here for a second. You kind of want to make a line here. What do you have up here? What kind of taxes? School taxes. You see that? And what is underneath? School taxes? Municipal taxes. Do you see the improvements here? Local improvements, water main, wastewater, sewer, ornamental street lighting. What is that? You know when during Christmas time on Portage Avenue they hang these Christmas lights? Yeah. Somebody's paying for it. So people in that area, I don't know the lines, but they have like districts in the city. And so everybody in that area pays for it, okay? So I would be like, no, don't worry about it. I'll do my own. I don't want to pay for that. Anyways, so there's municipal and there's school taxes. The government is trying to slowly get rid of school taxes, which is very good news for you as a homeowner, because I pay a couple $1,000s on school taxes. I pay over $4,000 in property taxes every year. And it depends on the value of your home, but it is crazy. It's a lot of money, right? So if they get rid of this, then it's a lot less money that you have to pay. My worry is they have to get the money from somewhere. Where are they getting it from, right? Like, are you paying more for gas now, or are you going to pay more? Like, it's coming from somewhere. So I don't know what's going to happen, how they do it, but they're phasing it out. Okay, I'm happy about it, but also worried at the same time. 62. Okay, 62 is basically where everything comes together. This is like the big formula for property taxes. And I will explain that in a little bit. Pay attention to this part. On page 62, this is the two words of the day, okay? Mill rates. highlight mill rates. Property taxes are calculated by applying municipal and school mill rates against the portioned assessment of your property. What is a mill rate? It is basically this. I'm going to highlight this right here. If you see 1 mil really represents $1 for every $1,000 of portioned assessed value. I will give you another example. Write this down. If the mill rate is equal to 6 mils, okay? You're like, what? All you need to know is that that is the equivalent of you owe $6 of taxes for every $1,000 of property value. That's what the 6 mils represent. In short, just make sure that if you see mils, that you divide by 1,000. That's the bottom line here. Okay? All right. So here's the big formula. I don't know how else to do it. Okay? Pay attention to this part. Not everything is always going to be here, right? Sometimes some parts are going to be omitted. But I would definitely say you should highlight this box, and I would say business card size. That's how small you can probably make this onto your study sheet. Business card. I don't know if they still hand those out these days, but business card like this big, right? If you can fit that in, I've seen students do that. And just make sure at the top here you have property taxes. Okay, property tax, and this is how you calculate it. Just stay with me for another couple minutes. I won't do an actual math example. I'll just explain this, and then on Monday we'll calculate. But portioned assessment, you take the assessed value of the home times 0.45. However, only if portioned assessed value is not provided. Okay? Once you know what this is, okay, I'm going to use a different color here to bring it alive, to bring this all to life here. Once you know what that is, so it's either given or you have to calculate it, you take that number over here and you multiply it by the provincial education mill rate divided by 1,000, you get a dollar amount. You would also use this one over here, right? You take your portion assessment, you multiply by the municipal mill rate in this case, and divide it by 1,000. And so I would say this is probably a good idea to put this in brackets like that. Okay? And when you do this, you get an education tax. You get like a dollar amount here. You get a dollar amount there. And here's where you need to be careful. The local improvement is also going to be a dollar amount. You take the frontage, the width, not a mill rate. Okay, the width of the property, you times it by the improvement rate. You may have to use a table for that to get your local improvements. To wrap it all up, right, you would want to add all of these amounts here. So I will put A here, B, C, right? There's potentially 3 things here that you need to add up. And so here it is, education tax, like total net property taxes. You take your education tax, you add your municipal tax, you add local improvements. Are there always going to be local improvements? No. What about this last one here? What do we do with credits? Add or subtract? Subtract. Please don't forget that. Subtract credits. I will actually write that down. Because a lot of students on the exam or on the test, they just add everything up. Add, even the credits. The credits are when the government finds out that or the city finds out that they didn't end up using all the money, you get money back, which is sweet. So how does that happen, Mr. Erickson? If they, for example, didn't use as much money to clear the roads, there wasn't as much snow that year, there might be a surplus, they give it back to you because they're not allowed to profit, right? They have to either invest it or give it back to you. So if there's a credit, subtract it. One more thing, guys. It could be, listen carefully to this part, that the question flat out just says, hey, the education tax is $1,500. It's just flat, that's what it is. You would not worry about doing this, right? You would just say, hey, I know what that is. And you may have to calculate the municipal and the improvements and then add it up that way, okay? Is there anything else? I have some errors here, down here, common errors right here. I write them down. Sometimes you'll be given the actual tax amount, no mill rate necessary. Common errors are forgetting to calculate the portioned value, forgetting to divide the mill rate by 1,000, multiplying the improvement rate by the portioned value. So those are common errors here. I'm going to stop here. Thank you, guys.